Combining forces with Devin Booker beat the MVP favorite Luka Dončić and the Dallas Mavericks 106-102. CP3 scored 4 of his 8 points in clutch time. Dončić went 0 of 6 from 3. Max Kellerman, you're up first. What was your biggest takeaway from this Suns-Mavs game?
My biggest takeaway was actually that the Mavs are an extremely well-coached team. I mean, we know Carlisle can coach, but what you see on the first game of the season without their second-best player, who, by the way, is a 7'3" monster who you can play 5 out with if you play him at the 5 or the 4, who can bomb from 3, defend the rim, defend in space, completely changes the nature of the other team's offense when he's on the floor defensively, and has not even really reached his full offensive potential yet. You don't even have that guy on the floor, right? And he was a beast in the playoffs, too, until he got hurt. What you see from the Mavs is when a play doesn't work, when a screen's busted, whatever it is, they go to the next play. They have an answer for everything. When the defense adjusts, they have an answer to the defense. They continually answer the defense. And when you see that everyone's where they're supposed to be, the spacing is right immediately. It changes and it's right immediately again. That's an extremely well-coached team with a deep playbook that the players really understand. The Suns were very talented. They're a talented team, but when something doesn't work, maybe they have an answer, then it breaks down into iso ball. By the way, a lot of NBA teams are like that. Not the Dallas Mavericks, and that bodes extremely well for this team when Porzingis gets back.
Well, Max, I have to disagree. For myself, watching the game last night, my biggest takeaway was the Phoenix Suns. They look phenomenal on the defensive end. They look like a well-coached team on the defensive end. They held the Mavericks to 42% shooting from the field and 24% shooting from the 3. And they didn't hope they missed. They made them miss. They contest every shot. They was rotating on defense. They was playing boxes and elbows where they didn't have any driving gaps. And I was looking at this team with the mixture of, 2 vets and Chris Paul and Jay Crowder, along with these young, mature stars and Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, all these guys, they mixed up, and you could tell that they're bought in. And on the offensive end, they were passing up good shots to get great shots. That's a well-coached team. That means they have bought into Monty Williams' system. And when you look at what they did to the Dallas Mavericks, they made them take tough contested shots. Yes, the Mavericks got to the free throw line a lot. Of course, the refs bailed Luka out time and time again, calling fouls that wasn't fouls. But when the Mavs made a run in the second half, guess what happened? The Phoenix Suns didn't hang their head. They weathered the storm. I could count on numerous times that Devin Booker had wide open looks, and they just didn't fall. They did a great job of getting DeAndre Ayton involved on the low block. He made nice post moves. They had a great mixture. They look like a well-coached team, and the Phoenix Suns will be top 5 in the Western Conference. Chris Paul makes it different.
Well, look, the Suns,
leadership that he's bringing to that ball club.
I'd say I agree about the coaching on the defensive end for the Suns. They were getting after it, no doubt. And obviously, when you have 2 ball-dominant guys in your backcourt, both, if they're not superstars, they're the next things to it at this different points in their careers in CP3 and, of course, Devin Booker. You want real 3-and-D guys who can do that at a high level. And you mentioned it. Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges are those guys. Crowder is a very versatile player. And when your question mark in terms of what he's going to do is DeAndre Ayton, the number 1 pick, who's already a good player, but maybe could be a really, really good player not too long from now. That's all legit to point that out. I'm saying the Mavericks were playing against that team without their second-best player by far. And what jumped out to me was how well coached they are. When you look at that team and the way they're on offense, yes, Perk, I'm talking about offense. When you look at that team and you see even Luka with a bad game, like Luka was passing up open driving lanes where he really had an easy bucket for these step-back threes, right? And maybe at this point in the season, he's trying to get it going a little bit and seeing what he can do. But I agree. I thought he was making some mental errors on offense. But we all know Luka's a brilliant player. That's not going to continue all season, doing a James Harden imitation when he should be doing something actually more productive than that in the moment. And when you consider that Luka can play much better than that, and that was without Porzingis, look out for this Dallas team.
Max, there's no way in hell you and I could have was watching the same game last night, because what I saw a lot of ISO ball out of the Dallas Mavericks. Here, Luka, go make a play, go 1-on-1. Here, Brunson, go 1-on-1. Try to take him down the lane and get shots. Matter of fact, when the Dallas Mavericks, when the second half started, Tim Hardaway Jr. was in transition and he hit 2 wide open threes in transition. It wasn't play sets that was being called. They played more ISO ball than the Phoenix Suns. And Max, let me give you a little insight of what's going on in the NBA. 80% of the offense in the NBA is pick and rolls. And I thought the Phoenix Suns did a great job of settling down, calling up for screens, DeAndre Ayton running up into pick and rolls for Chris Paul and Devin Booker, getting them downhill, getting them wide open shots to driving kicks. That's good basketball. Now, on the defensive end, they locked the Mavs up. So if you're going to give credit to Rick Carlisle and what he did for us, him coaching, then you damn sure got to give credit to Monty Williams.
I thought that what you're saying is true as the game wore on, in terms of both sides of the ball for the Phoenix Suns. And it's not that I'm taking credit away from Phoenix, but for the most part in that game, what was very obvious is that the Mavericks' spacing and recovery and answers to everything Phoenix was doing told you that is an exceptionally well-coached team on offense. When they get Porzingis back, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
All right, we'll leave it right there, guys. Perk coming back in just a bit. Coming up here on First Take, though, Rockets and Thunder game scheduled for Wednesday night was postponed after Houston didn't have the league-required 8 available players needed to proceed with the game under the NBA's coronavirus protocols. This all comes after superstar James Harden was declared unavailable after a video surfaced of him partying at a Houston area club. Harden defended his actions on IG yesterday, the same day the NBA fined him $50K for breaking protocol. Perk, we know James Harden wants out of Houston. The Miami deal fell through. Tell me this. We know he's open to Philly or Brooklyn. Should the Rockets sit Harden?
Hell no, Molly. Hell no. Sit him for what? What are the Rockets going to benefit by sitting James Harden? Nothing. This is a guy still today that is a walking bucket, one of the best scorers that the game has ever seen. There's no way the Rockets could sit James Harden, a guy that you're paying over close to $40 million a year, an MVP candidate type guy. Yes, he has his extracurricular activities that he has, his issues off the court. But when he steps between those lines, the guy still could play basketball, and he can help the Rockets. He still is the Mr. Rocket himself. He is the culture still. While he's in a Rocket uniform, the Rockets' best decision is to play James Harden, deal whatever they have to deal with, and keep it moving. It makes zero sense at all to sit James Harden. John Wall is okay with playing with him. DeMarcus Cousins is okay. Woods is okay. When he did play with him in the preseason, it seemed pretty good to me. So, if I'm the Rockets, you got to hold tight. You got to deal with these issues internally, try to get past it. But sitting James Harden is not the answer.
Sitting James Harden actually shockingly is the answer, and I have to give credit to Stephen A. Smith, who mentioned this the other day. And let me tell you why. Number one, Perk, you're wrong about the idea that because he has 2 more years left on the deal, the team has all this leverage. The team has almost no leverage, in fact, the more I think about it. The fact is that the teams have leverage in the CBA, right? Because they're billionaires. They have a monopoly, a de facto monopoly on professional basketball. If you want to get rich and you're great at basketball, you got to deal with the NBA. And so they win the CBA. It favors the owners over the players. But what superstar players have in terms of leverage is if they're unhappy in a situation and they want out, there's really nothing you can do. Like, if you have the greatest owner of all time in the history of professional sports by far in America, the late, great Dr. Jerry Buss, and you're the Lakers, and you got, L.A., maybe you can talk Kobe Bryant into staying long enough to figure out how to make the team better. This ain't that. And that's really the only example I can think of. If a disgruntled superstar really wants out, your team is sunk if you don't deal him. Everyone knows this, including the Rockets. You got to deal Harden. Here's the problem. I said long ago, the sooner they deal him, the better the deal they're going to get. Now, I know what the Rockets are thinking. Well, we're not getting enough of an offer yet. We're just not going to trade him for that. I told you how to fix that. You got to let all the teams know, come with your best and final right now. We're dealing him right now. And you will get the best